Happy 420, and thank you for joining Chicago Normal and I for this year's virtual 420 Summit. My name is Jondae Scott. I am a member and instructor for Chicago Normal and blogger for Clear as Smoke blog. For my blog's relaunch, I am honored to introduce Ashley Bailey. She's an advocate for women's health and pregnant cannabis consumers. I had a very, very candid sit down with Ashley regarding her own experience and how women can be empowered in their experience using cannabis while pregnant. I am so happy to introduce this on a very special weed holiday. So check out the clip. And for the full interview, make sure you head to Clear as Smoke blog by clicking the link. Stay healthy and elevated. Peace. Hello and hi, my lovely loyal bloggies, and welcome to a very special edition of Clear as Smoke, where cannabis knowledge is for everyone. I am your humble host, Canna Lady 86, and it is my pleasure to introduce Ashley Bailey, an advocate for women using cannabis while pregnant. Now, this is a very, very important topic for everyone to start having more information about from a first person perspective. And I had the pleasure of meeting Ashley through her aunt Edie Moore, executive director of Chicago Normal, who is my mentor and who has educated me on the many benefits of cannabis. So Ashley, just like her aunt, is adding another layer of education to how women and everyday folks use cannabis for different types of relief. So, Ashley, thank you.
Thank
This is
you.
so very exciting. Ashley and I think we had like what 2 or 3 conversations, and they were
Yes.
like quick. I'm like, we have to do this story. So, Ashley, like I talked to you before. I want people to get a scope of your experience, not just as an expecting mother, but as someone who uses cannabis for relief already,
Yes.
and will soon face different opinions and backlashes of being someone who consumes while pregnant. That first move of I'm gonna start talking about it. Go into that for me.
um, I fell into a space where I needed to know if there were more women who felt like I did and who were as sick as I was during my pregnancy and what they used and the relief they needed. And I didn't want to feel bad anymore for taking the step into owning my own how do you say, sorry, I get tongue tied,
That's
owning my
fine.
own body and not letting other influences change my mind of how I wanted my pregnancy to go. If I had no complications or anything, it's I needed control over that. And I wanted other women to take their power back when it
Mm.
came to their pregnancies and trusting their body and their instincts and going into the doctor's office and saying, no, this is what I need and what I want. And I think it's important. I think it's important for especially women of color to really use their voice and speak up. There's so many um, medical malpractices that happen that can be prevented if we educate women on there's the holistic practices and different ways to ease pain during pregnancy and nausea and vomiting and
Mm.
being able to sleep. Like, it's so many things that go along with pregnancy that people don't know about. So I wanted to spread the word of we can do this naturally. This is what our body does, and let's continue that movement. And this is something that has helped me, and it may seem taboo, but it's not. It's okay to speak up, and a lot of women are afraid to, and I want to take that fear away.
It definitely has seemed like a fear to me. It's from whether it's a spiritual, religious perspective,
Mm-hmm.
family, people at work, can't go to church, and
Mm-hmm.
people telling you what to do with your own stomach.
Yes.
When you're going through that transition
Mm-hmm.
into motherhood, and then choosing your own relief, where in that space did family, influence come in? And then, yep, breathe, got one for you. And then your spouse, the person that you chose to have a child with, what was that whole?
It was actually kind of a relief that he was actually the one who influenced it and brought it to my attention
Mm-hmm.
and said, hey, maybe you want to try it. And with my family already being in the cannabis industry, I was a user,
Mm-hmm.
but I stopped the moment I found out I was pregnant. And he saw how sick I was, and I was just like, I don't know what to do. He said, do you want to try to smoke? And I'm like, oh no, I could never do that. Like, what's going to happen?
Yeah.
And I just kind of thought, I'm like, well, let me do more research. Let me dig deeper. And the more I delved into it, I'm like, it's not that bad. And other women do it, but I noticed there was a lot of forums that women would hide their identities.
Mm.
And it's like they would do
Mm.
YouTube videos and hide behind the camera. And I'm like, why are you hiding?
Exactly.
And I'm like, I want to know what you know and how you feel. And once I felt comfortable enough, I was like, you know what? Let me try it. And when I did, instant relief, and I didn't look back. And I did get a little backlash from my family at first, but once I sat them down and explained it to them, it was like, oh, you have to do this. You have to, continue this. And I support it and I understand it. Like, once you put the evidence in front of people, the medication that they give us is harming our unborn child.
Mm.
And this is something that people have been using for years to help ease nausea and labor pains and everything, but it doesn't want to be talked about.
Exactly. Exactly. I have a handful of friends that
Mm-hmm.
chose to consume, whether smoking, edibles, even tinctures,
Mm-hmm.
while pregnant. But just like you said, that fear,
Mm-hmm.
and they, whether or not it came from their family or from just social media,
Mm-hmm.
they all had that same thought that you did. The minute they got pregnant, I gotta stop
I gotta
using.
stop.
How does it get to that point? Like, what is the big
It's
don't do that?
I think it's a societal thing.
Mm.
I think it's a you're a mom and you're looked at as a bad mother, but in all reality, if I can't take care of myself as a mother, I can't take care of my child. My body is sick. I don't know what to do. And I've talked to women, and I myself have felt like, should I terminate this pregnancy because I am that ill? And they're like, well, why would you smoke? And some things take longer to come into effect. And I'm like, if I'm actively vomiting, I don't have time to eat an edible and digest it because I may throw it back up. So
Mm.
smoking out of a bowl was more effective. I didn't use tobacco papers or any papers at all because I didn't know what was in them. So the little precautions that I could take to prevent either tobacco or any other chemicals, those are the precautions that I took. But as far as using the flower, um, for me, it was the best thing that I could have done to save my pregnancy, save my health, because I was losing weight and it wasn't healthy. And to go to the doctor's office and they're like, well, he's perfectly fine, he's developing well. And I explained to the doctors that I use cannabis, and you get that backlash as well. So, but I wanted to be as open and honest with them just in case something did happen in an emergency. I did not want to hide the fact that I used, but you are going to deal with the criticism
Hmm.
on
And
top of the emotions.
you're going right into my next sort of point of conversation, and to all of those watching and listening, please be aware that we soon will be discussing very sensitive topics, including suicide and addiction. So please be aware of that. and listen at your discretion, watch at your discretion. But you did mention suicide
Mm-hmm.
and abortion.
Mm-hmm.
For many women who feel that they are just at the end of the rope when it
Mm-hmm.
comes to the symptoms of being pregnant, the emotional side effects of being pregnant, do you think it adds on that some want to use and they can't, leading into more depression and then ultimately, well, if this is what I have to go through when I'm pregnant, I don't want to live?
Exactly, and because a lot of people have to think about, oh, my job's gonna drug test me, or
Mm.
they could take my kids away. I
Mm.
had a friend say, well, I'm gonna stop at my 36 week and cleanse my body because if they test me, they're gonna take my baby.
Wow.
And I'm like,
Wow.
you have to deal with those thought processes while being pregnant, and it's a lot to deal with, and it's what people the underlying issues that people don't want to pay attention to and don't want to talk about is, sorry, I may get a little emotional,
Take your time.
but it's like I'm using something that will help me and my child, but you want to take my child from me. Already we live in a society where women of color are beat down, so
Yes.
to hear that, it's like, what do I do? Where do I go? Who do I talk to? Because if I talk to somebody, I'm afraid that they may talk to somebody else and I may get in trouble for it. And I don't want women to feel that way. Because I'm like, no, it is your body and your child, and you have every right and every decision and every right to make whatever decision you want to make for that baby.
That goes back into your statement about power
Mm-hmm.
and taking that power back. Speak a little bit on that same power kind of being lost when women who are pregnant are faced with decisions in the church,
Mm-hmm.
maybe, or their spirituality. Did you personally have any negative or positive interactions with your maybe a religion or your spirituality, or have you encountered women who, you know, their following or their faith is that strong that they're denying that urge to consume, and
Mm-hmm.
like, I'm going to take this for God, I'm going to deal with this pain?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people. I'm more spiritual than I am religious.
Mm-hmm.
So where I believe in what I believe, but
Mm-hmm.
I do have friends who are like, that's a sin. I can't do that. I may go to hell, or I may, they are very devoted to their religion, and I understand it. But I'm like, think about your health and your child at the end of the day. Like this will ease that agony that you're going through. And I know people that were like, well, my family may not speak to me about this, or my family may report me, or the fact that I have a close friend who she didn't use while she was pregnant, but she did consume after the fact. And she had a family member report her. And she didn't have her children for a month.
Wow.
But it's okay for a woman to drink a full bottle of wine and consume a Xanax, and no one says anything. I think it's I just I would never understand it.
Well, that that speaks volumes to the old. There was a time when the old glass of wine, for instance, had become sort of a remedy for a lot of things
Mm-hmm.
for women, but not necessarily encouraged in the women of color or the
Yeah.
African American women community.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't see too many ads or mentions of black women
Mm-hmm.
being suggested a glass of wine every
No.
day after
To
work.
relax,
Yeah,
and you
like,
have the kids, and it's not like that.
exactly. And so just that speaks a lot to how one is encouraged but it's still being researched.
Mm-hmm.
But black women in cannabis, even though that's still being researched, that's not encouraged. Would you say that that is also one of the reasons? Just
Oh, most
the
definitely. We're
racial
looked at like
bias?
any
Yeah.
what. I don't want to go off on a tangent, but I will say
Tangent
that is a
away. Tangent away.
it is a big thing, especially in the medical field. Especially they paint this the number of C sections that women of color get is beyond what it should be compared to white women who have insurance or may
Mm.
be of a certain tax bracket, whatever the case may be. It's preventative care doesn't pay their bills, and that's the problem. Is that they feel as if, okay, if we educate these women and we teach them that you don't have to have a C-section, you can do this way and have a natural birth and to breastfeed. They do not encourage breastfeeding in the black community in
They
these
don't.
hospitals. They literally, you have the baby, they take them out, clip the cord, and there's no encouragement of skin to skin contact or delayed cord cutting. Most black women don't even know about that, but they
Mm.
promote this in the white community, and they have the spas and the doulas and everything. All of that's, nice and up north, but in the black community they don't have that. They have the clinics, and it's like a factory, and there's no education. There's no one being, they're saying like, hey, stop, you don't have to go this way. Whether you have insurance or not, you still have a choice of what to do with your body and your pregnancy and your birth and your plan, so forth.